user. And so you're going to use either echo to do that, or you're going to break out of your script temporarily. And let's say I want to just put in some lines here, and then begin the PHP again. So anytime you stop writing PHP in your script, you can just start typing HTML. Whatever you type there is going to appear right there. If you want to echo something in line, there's a wonderful shortcut for that, which is just equals. And that will actually put right there whatever that variable is equal to, and then stop and keep going with your HTML.
How do you,
go ahead.
How would you make something appear like in a certain div or something? If you wanted your value to appear like in a certain spot on the page?
You would wrap that div around it. So you would write, if you want this to appear this way, and then no ID is whatever you're calling your div.
So you can, it's not like there is, sorry. So you can put whatever coding you're looking at that in between the HTML, or like you say, div, whatever. It doesn't need to be like always on the top of the page. Or
it's sort of sprinkled throughout your script. It's always going to
sprinkles of
that's
PHP.
Okay.
Right, put a little PHP here to do this, put some PHP there to do that.
Chocolate sprinkles.
Right, it depends on what the nature of the script is.
So like, would this website have an HTML file too, or would it just have this PHP file?
It's all contained in one place. The script always, it's one self-contained thing. And I may as well mention includes while we're here. As Marianne said, they're a very powerful way to improve your PHP. You can have separate PHP files. We have class.php in here. Let's say we want to have addendum.php. It's a separate file. What this will do is you save a separate file called addendum.php in the same folder. You run this, and it's actually going to run all the way through line by line until it hits that include line. It's going to stop running. It's going to go and get that other file and run line by line through that file. And when it reaches the end, it's going to come back here and keep going. Man, what a difference that makes for having an organized website. You don't have to have, if you have 7 scripts that all do the same thing at some point, they all have the same, block of code of giving you this chart of information. You can simply create a separate file that draws that chart and then include it where you need it to be. You can use this for headers and footers. We do that here at Mouse Media. You have a file called header.php that has the top of the site and the logo and all the the login box and all this information. Then you have a footer, and so every script you write starts with header and ends with footer, and then just has the actual text in the middle. So you have to draw that every single script.
Just imagine if you have to like 1,000 pages change the 2009, 2010. And that's how I do the includes as far as I go.
Yeah.
But I do everything like that. Like it's like the header, the footer, even the sidebar or whatever it is on the website is easier to. But as
So
far
much
as
easier
and
to
that's
do.
as far as I go.
That was something I remember the very first day here at Mouse Media. I'd never heard of includes before, and oh man, I had 500 PHP scripts on my server, and every time I wanted to change a link in one of them, I had to open 500 of them and change every single one. What a pain that was. Another thing that's helpful is a config file. We usually have that at the top of our scripts here at Mouse Media. We'll usually include config.php, which just defines variables that we're going to use in every page. Like it'll establish a database connection so that we can go ahead and start querying that. We don't have to define that with a bunch of passwords and define a bunch of things every single time. So it's useful to have something like that.
Cool.
Some notes about include. You can have, this is basically include. It does what I said it does, but if you want something that you want to make sure it only gets included once, then just type the function include once. This will go and get it the first time. If it encounters this instruction again, it won't bother doing it anymore. It'll just skip it. And that's helpful if you're going to do something like defining a function. If you try to define a function that already exists, PHP breaks it. It just stops running. I can't do that. And so that's helpful to include once, because you want to make sure you don't want to get it multiple times if you just get confused in your logic somewhere. You can also have require, in which case it's useful for something that the rest of your script needs to have the values that are defined up there. If for whatever reason it can't reach that, it stops running. It just gives an error to the screen that says I can't. So require is helpful, and then there's require once, if I could type, which does the same thing, only goes and gets it once, but stops running if it doesn't want it.
This is just a silly question. When you're doing, doesn't matter if you're doing an HTML page and then you put some PHP code in the end, the page has to be saved as HTML or PHP?
You're going to always save the file as PHP. You can't run PHP on your computer. You have to upload it to a server somewhere.
Or there is server.
Right.
Okay, just want to make sure.
So I'm just curious.
Yeah, how would you test a PHP page, like on your own computer?
No, there is. Mac has a program. I remember the name.
You can get PHP for Windows, but like I said, I don't recommend it. I recommend if you're going to sign up, if you're going to have a hosted website somewhere, sign up with the service. There's all kinds of hosts out there that offer PHP. They're not very expensive. Bluehost, DreamHost.
That easy.
Yeah. Just curious what the script looks like if we paste it in after we've done all this typing. I hope I didn't leave any infinite loops in there.
You did.
Actually,
So
save
what
this on the
server
server.
are you on now?
I'm connecting
Is this like
to
your sandbox or something?
Dev1, which is our development server. It's one of our development servers. We also have a web one, which is for live sites. The idea is we can crash Dev1 if we have a bad script and it's not going to take down any live sites. So it's helpful to have that. I have a parse error in here. This is an example of a PHP error. PHP can be helpful or not. Line 36. I'm missing.
Oh, that's like a ring. Crazy ring.
Can you make it show the line numbers?
If you're using a program like Dreamweaver or Zen,
Yeah.
it will show you the line numbers. I'm just actually editing right here on the server, and so it's not showing me the line numbers. I wonder if I can see where I'm missing it. Not there.
Oh, there it is on line 36.
Yeah.
You are the error, Joe. You have to break even that.
Oh, it says the line down in the bottom right.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, look at Travis.
All right.
Very good.
Such a smart.
Somebody's away.
Oh yeah,
Ah.
it's Rachel.
It's missing
A comma.
comma here, and I put semicolons there. There you go.
Actually, you don't need that last comma there, do you?
It's optional. I find it helpful if you're breaking out an array definitions on multiple lines like this. It's helpful, but you don't have to have
Okay.
the last one. Think of it like CSS. Oops.
So Scott, if you have a
So here we have our script, and it'll run the first part of the script, and now it's having an error because it can't find the file that I've included because it doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
Right.
Here,
And that was because you used required, right?
exactly. So it has an error and it stops running.
So if you just used include, it would be okay?
Yeah, if you use include, it will give an error and then it'll stop. And the thing about error messages is they're on by default, but you can actually turn them off. If you set error reporting, I forget what the level is. There's a site called php.net that I recommend using. It's not very, it doesn't have, I mean, you can use it as a tutorial. It kind of sucks as a tutorial. It doesn't just give you like an introduction and reading through this stuff. I can send a link around for that. But php.net does give you the exact syntax. So anytime you're going to refer to some kind of function, you're going to refer to some kind of control structure or something, and you're wondering exactly what order do I put things in, exactly what does it do, it'll tell you. So in this case, error reporting, you can actually set an integer within that, and that's different levels of what error messages do I show and which ones do I hide to the user. So on our live sites, we don't show errors to our users at all. We just have like a mailbox that we receive them at here in the office.
Didn't you say the thing about PHP is that the user can't see your code?
Correct.
So, like on that page, what happens if you right-click and do view source? What do you see?
You won't see any.
You'll
But
see
just
just
the
the HTML that I'm outputting. And because it has errors, it'll show the errors. Because
So the HTML it generated, right?
Right.
You didn't make an HTML file.
And that's the wonderful thing about comments. See, now we don't have any PHP showing at all. We just have actual output of the script, which is great. That's exactly what we wanted. And you put in comments in your PHP, nobody can see them. If you put comments in your HTML and somebody's smart enough to view source and they can find it in there, they can find what you've written.